From the Aishin Broadcast Studio, it's the Tool Time Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Tech Shop's Tool Time Podcast. I'm Eric Garba, ASE Certified Master Automobile Technician and Editor of Tech Shop.
I'm Tom Pecca, Group Publisher at Tech Shop Magazine.
Joining us today is Mickey Leach, CEO of Schumacher Electric. Tom, we've got a great podcast today. We're talking to Mickey Leach. We're talking diagnostics, electronics, charging system equipment, electronic equipment, everything technicians need to service vehicles today.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Looking forward to talking to Mickey. I know that Schumacher's had a lot of products. They've been around for a long time, so I'm very excited to hear more about it and learn about the company.
Awesome. Well, you ready to do this?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. Mickey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you again.
Yeah, you as well.
You too, absolutely. So, Mickey, can you give us a little history of Schumacher Electric?
Yeah, certainly. I love to do it. So Schumacher Electric, as hopefully everybody knows, is a legacy business founded by the Schumacher family in 1947. Their son, Don Schumacher, who first made his fame in drag racing. He's in the Hall of Fame as a driver and a team owner, and is in many Hall of Fames actually for racing. And the business started as power conversion and transformers, and we were in most televisions and radios in the homes across America. And, sometime in the 80s and 90s, a lot of that business, the solid state technology came in and it moved offshore. And Don was wise enough and bold enough. He transformed the business from power conversion into automotive aftermarket power conversion. And we've since transformed into a few other things, but primarily we've been in the automotive space, 40 years because of Don Schumacher and then the business his family built way back in the 40s.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't realize that tie-in was there, He doesn't like drag racing and all
that,
right? You know what I mean? And
that's what I was just thinking, the same thing.
Yeah.
Mickey, I had a question for you. So, one of the big topics among technicians these days is diagnostic work. What's some of the equipment that Schumacher offers that can help technicians with that?
Yeah, so really, specifically, we've got a portfolio of high-end chargers, boosters, and diagnostic equipment. So I would say our INC 100 is the leading product in that space.
Yeah.
And I think maybe more important about, which products are which, it's the innovation that we're trying to bring to market is to help with, of course, accuracy in doing the work, but more importantly, efficiency. Right. So, we're looking at our technology and our innovation not to be new gadgets, bells and whistles, but being able to let the professional do their job either faster or easier. Right. We're all strapped with time. We all have more time pressure. There aren't enough people coming into the business. So, we're getting more work added up to us. So those diagnostic tools and our chargers, we want to be able to make it really, really simple to use and more functionality each time. So you'll see over time more products coming from Schumacher that just really deliver on that efficiency and productivity gains for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's definitely the name of the game for
time
a technician.
Is money, right?
Time is money. So Mickey, you talked a little bit about one of the battery chargers you offer. And can you talk a little more about your charger line and what are some of the features that help technicians today, especially with all the different types of batteries and charging profiles required?
Right. Well, it's hard on the whole industry, right? In the sense of we've always had to up our game, right? The technology keeps getting better. The complexity keeps getting added. We're now working on EVs. We're working on internal combustion cars. Like just the job itself is getting more complicated. So the chargers that we have for traditional vehicles with internal combustion engines have to do more, as you say. We're seeing more lead acid coming into a lot of our high performance vehicles, and we're seeing more lithium coming into our products. And AGM's been there for a while. So we have some very cool technology that does auto detection. Back to making the job easier, faster for the people using the tool. So we've got some really cool technology around auto detection of what type of battery I'm working with. But maybe more important and what's maybe different about Schumacher products is a few years ago, the industry had to make a change for the Department of Energy. And it wiped away a lot of the old technology that we all loved with the egg timer dials on chargers, because it all had to become automatic controlled. It all had to be more efficient to meet Department of Energy standards. So the industry went that way. Anyone who's held on to that old technology still loves it and still wants it. It's not compliant, so we can't make it anymore.
Right.
But what we've been able to do, thinking about, the person using the tool, getting ready for the next job, is there are times when you need to control the charger. You need to control what's going into the battery and get it ready for the next customer, get it out of the bay, bring the next one in. So we went back into the technology after the Department of Energy said, look, you can't have that technology. You've got to make it all automatic so it's now more efficient. We then, in the last 2 years, have gone back into that technology and have been able to meet those standards with a manual controlled timers. So we now, on our bench chargers, right here, I've got a bench charger here and a wheel charger behind me. These are now manually timer controlled, but the technology is automatic behind it. So, we get to control it manually, but the technology is driving the charger to do the work.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah,
So
if
you're old school and you really like that, or at least that feel of the old technology, you can at least, it feels like you still have some control, you're still doing it, but the charger is still doing the work that it needs to do.
We all know we don't have control anywhere else in our lives, so at least with the charger,
You're
we have a little
absolutely
bit of
right.
control,
You're
right?
absolutely right.
And there are times when you have to have a job where you got to get the car ready for the next person coming in. So you've got to have the power of that manual charging. And then sometimes our innovation looks boring to people, but being able to do that, like a retro function on top of the modern efficiency, was innovative. It feels like we're going old school. And then the other one was when we talk to people in their shops, nobody has extra space. Right. I mean, everybody's shop is filled with everything, right? And you don't want tripping hazards, so you try to put stuff up, but you things on the floor. We've had wheel chargers forever, and wheel chargers are standard equipment practically everywhere, right? But we've also heard, look, if I need another charger and portability, but I don't have any more floor space. So we took the capability of a wheel charger and then we put it into a benchtop style. So practically, literally everything that goes into a wheel charger, we now have in a smaller form. So we were able to shrink everything and provide the same output, same capabilities with the dials and everything into a benchtop unit to solve the problem with floor space.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's really cool.
Floor space. You're right, Mickey. It's a hot commodity in shops. I mean, just with all the stuff that's coming out now, shops are running out of room.
Oh,
so
absolutely. And
that makes a lot of sense.
I love the terminology of retro technology.
Yeah, right.
I love that. It's like, so maybe Mickey, if you could start working on a cell phone that has this round thing on it, and I can.
Oh, amen.
It'll dial phone. Wouldn't that be nice? Gosh,
yeah,
that's funny.
I have heard, like my friends have been asked by their grandkids now. It's like, well, wait a minute. Why do you call? I got to dial the phone. Like, what do you mean dial? Like, what does that mean?
It's not even a thing.
What are you going to dial?
Yeah, they don't even know what it is anymore. That's funny. Actually, so I'm glad you talked a little bit about the chargers. Eric, I wanted to ask, as a mechanic, I would imagine there's a lot of dead cars on the floor or out in the lot.
Oh, absolutely.
What about jump packs, Mickey? I mean, you guys, I feel like you're kind of known for jump packs, right?
I'd like to think so. I think the people who also make jump packs for pros do a good job, right? No disrespect to anybody else out there. We all make good, safe products and so on and so forth. I would say we have spent a lot of time innovating around lithium powered jump packs. You guys may not be getting older, but I am. And when I got to lug around a 24 volt jump pack from an AGM battery, it's turning into some work, right? So we want to make that, a better experience for the person using it. And lithium gives us that, but it takes a little bit extra. And lithium batteries don't perform as well in the cold, right? So there are times when you still need that AGM pack, and we're working on some technology with preheating and some other things to be able to have lithium perform really well when it's really cold.
Okay.
But we're in those normal situations where you don't have to have a traditional heavy lead acid AGM battery. You know, we feel like we're ahead of the pack when it comes to lithium and giving people just like us a better user experience of using the product.
Yeah, that
That's
makes
awesome.
sense, yeah.
That's great to hear. Taking advantage of that modern battery technology, and like you said, Tom, I mean, that's something every day, day in and day out. You know, technicians, we need jump packs. We're just using them all the time.
Right. Yeah, that's what I would think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
I grew up in Ohio, and you know it's cold 9 months out of the year. Not as cold
It
as
is
some
indeed.
places, of course, but yeah, you know everybody knows what that is, right? And if you're around cars, you know where one is, and wouldn't you know it? It's kind of like Saturday morning when I'm getting to mow my lawn, my gas can's empty, right? You're ready to go do the job, and it's not ready. So
Right.
the other benefit with the lithium jump packs would be is that they hold their charge a little bit longer, and you don't have that frustrating moment when it might not be charged as often.
True. Yeah, that is the worst thing. And yeah, being in Ohio, we know you're especially in the winter, you need one. You know, we
Right.
keep one here that's charged and ready to go. You know, all winter long.
Right.
I mean, I have one in my car. I feel like everybody.
How
does
often do you
these
charge
days.
it?
What's that?
How often do you charge it?
Oh, geez. Not nearly enough. Not
See?
nearly enough. Yeah.
Right. And we know better. Like there's a whole mess of people that don't know better.
Yeah, you're exactly
Well,
right.
I turned your lights on this morning as kind of a prank, so
Yeah,
you'll find out if it's
thanks,
charged when
buddy.
you get
Yeah,
out
I
there.
appreciate that. Eric's gonna see if I can get my car started. That's great.
Well, and you had mentioned, you know, the need of jumping or boosting cars in in the lot. You know, when we grew up, the car could sit there for a long time and nobody cared, right? It didn't matter. You sit there maybe a week to 2 weeks and forget it. It's not going to go. So, you know, there's such an electrical draw when it's sitting idle. You know, we see that there's more incidence of needing that product. Or on the other hand, you be preventative on the other side and you keep that battery on a charge so that it doesn't get in that situation.
Yeah,
So, you know, we try to
absolutely.
meet on the proactive side. If we're thinking about it, we should be putting maintainers or low amperage chargers on it. If we don't remember that, then at least we've got a solution to boost it.
Absolutely, because usually we don't remember that. You know, that's usually the way it goes.
Presented from the Aishin Broadcast Studio at Babcock's Media.
You briefly mentioned this earlier, but you know, EVs. You know, obviously they're everywhere, and there's just more and more of them. And on your website, you have several EV chargers. Can you talk a little bit about how Schumacher is getting involved with the EV chargers and some special units you may have?
Yeah, sure. So Don Schumacher hired me almost 5 years ago, and his message to me was, "Is this the business has to transform?" You know, he brought in a new management team, brought in some investors, and said, "Look, we need to transform this business." He and I at the time did not believe electric vehicles were going to be the only vehicle on the road in 2030 or 2035, what people were talking about 5 years ago. But like you said, there are applications where an electric vehicle makes a lot of sense, right? And a lot of people enjoy them, and there's a lot of them on the road. So we see EV as part of the battery solution world, not necessarily we're an EV company or we're a traditional company. It's just we charge batteries or we boost batteries. That's what we do. With that approach, we first went and developed wall-mounted chargers, primarily for residential consumers. People have Schumacher products in their garage. They're going to come home with their first EV, and first thing you should be thinking about when you think about charging a car is Schumacher Electric. So we wanted to be able to continue that, offer a Schumacher Electric wall-mounted EV charger. So we have those as level 2. So high power going in. You can you get home at the end of the day, you plug it in, and you're good for another 220 miles in a few hours. Beyond that, we then said, look, what's the application of that in a shop? Right now, most shops don't fill the car up with gas, so typically you should have enough electricity to bring it into the shop, get your brakes done or whatever you need to do, and then get it out without having to have that. But we've noticed there's a lot of people in the collision and body shops that have EVs that need charging. So we've developed a range of portable EV chargers, both at the high end where you could plug it into your welding outlets and run 220, get that thing charged a little bit quicker, or a slow or kind of a trickle charge, if you would, on like a 110 regular wall outlet. So we're trying to create solutions for the different situations people are going to be handling electric vehicles.
Yeah, that's great.
That's
Mickey,
awesome.
you sort of answered my question that I was about to ask you, but I'm going to ask it anyway because maybe there's more to it. I was just sort of curious, with the way that the industry and technology is changing, I was curious, like what industry trends affect your guys' research and development when you're developing products? Are there any trends really that you guys are watching? I mean, obviously EV is the big one.
EV is the big one. I would say, well, we already talked about lithium batteries being more prevalent in power sports and high performance vehicles. The start stop technology in most cars these days is a big trend that we've had to adjust to. That not being political, but there's a lot of government regulation that is changing and or being proposed to change. So we spend a lot of time watching that. There's the energy perspectives, and then there's the materials that we use in our products. Chargers create a lot of heat, and dissipating heat uses particular chemicals that are on a list that says, well, maybe we should really try to start controlling how much of these types of chemicals get used. So, those types of industry trends we look at. And then I think we think of ourselves as being end user centric, and we think about the people using the products. And the trend that we see, and it may not be universal everywhere, but the trend we see is that there's less people coming into the business. The average age is getting a little bit older. So and people are making less money, right? So we need to have tools that give you the same amount of output with less cost, that's easier to use. And then maybe even speaking for myself as a user, I got to be able to read the buttons. I got to be able to read the displays on the product, right? So don't put displays on the product that I can't read without my reading glasses. So
right.
it's just thinking about the people using the products and thinking about that trend to influence our innovation.
Right.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's certainly is a big thing. As we all get older, I certainly can't see the ways light and being able to read something is one of the biggest things.
I just had to get my first set of bifocals. It was
oh dang, yeah.
It was a new experience for me.
And then what do you say? Okay, well, there's also then the people who are coming into the industry, right? So multiple languages is important, right? Not everybody looks like they came from a cornfield in Ohio, right? We've got to be able to adjust our training materials, our tools to people who didn't grow up, across the street from me when I grew up, right? So we've got to be able to think about, again, the user of the installed base of the vehicles, the installed base of people who've been in the industry for 30, 40 years, and then people who are coming into the industry, male, female, doesn't matter what nationality. We've got to think about everybody who's now in this business and meeting their needs differently, perhaps.
Right. For sure. Yeah. And Mickey, I want to touch on, too, maybe a little deeper into what you offer for programming, diagnostic work. Reflashing, such a huge thing now. Technicians are spending a lot of time key on, engine off, and just consuming that power during these diagnostic processes. And what do you offer for, as far as power supplies? How important is that? Are they part of your chargers, or are they separate units?
Yeah. We feel like our wheeled chargers on the high end of our DSR, which is Don Schumacher Racing. So DSR is a brand of Schumacher designed specifically for professionals, and it was really inspired from the guys who are working the track. And from that, we get our pipeline of products, and those products are best suited to need, right? So we've got some pretty high-end, high technology wheel chargers, which have tons of good, solid technology for what the scenario you're talking about. And then also, back to our INC 100, we have really good high calibration and control the voltage of the product. So that product has a lot of applications, particularly in dealerships who are working on new cars, more frequently than you would say like a shop that works with all ages of cars, right? So pretty much many or most or whatever the right word is of new car branded dealerships would be using one of our DSR wheel chargers or INC 100.
Okay, that is awesome. That is great to know.
It's pretty cool.
And I never knew the DSR. I've seen DSR. Maybe I just didn't read enough on the website. I didn't know it stood for Don Schumacher Racing. That's just really cool.
I know. I didn't know that either. I'll admit. I'm right there.
Oh, that's good feedback. I'll share that with our marketing team, right? And you can check us out. We've got our DSR Instagram, so you can check us out DSR on Instagram, and you could separately Schumacher on Instagram. So we want to, going back to being centered around the end user, right? We want to be able to talk to the different needs differently than just everybody all one way.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, Mickey, what later this year coming up? Do you have any products coming out? Anything new that's you're excited about?
It might sound embarrassing in the sense that we're very excited about an innovation that you're like, are you kidding? That's innovation. But we have a jump pack. Everybody knows or should know about our jump packs, but we have a new set of jump packs, DSR 165, which is a 12 volt, DSR 166, which is a 24 volt. And the feedback from everybody from our old version is that when I have to recharge that battery, I sometimes lose the recharging cord. It's basically, you can think of it as you needed like a laptop charging cord to charge your jump pack. Well, we put that capability inside the product now. So now you just take an extension cord and plug it right into the jump pack and you're good to go. So
that's
awesome.
Nice.
It's kind of embarrassing when you say, hey, we got some really innovative things. And it's like, oh, what did you do? Oh, we don't have a charger now for our jump pack.
I mean, that's kind of a big deal. I mean,
absolutely.
I think you're kind of downplaying it, Mickey. I mean, I think that's a cool feature that you just don't see everywhere.
Oh, for
and
sure.
It makes perfect sense. I can't tell you how many devices my kids have at our house that don't have cords anymore that need to be charged. So.
Oh, and you're like, which one do you need? You got this style, that style.
All the different tips, and I don't know.
Yeah, and then who wants 20 different cords tangled up in a toolbox drawer versus one extension cord? Yeah, that is awesome.
We spend a lot of money on innovation and technology and R&D, and like that's actually a bigger game changer than maybe something in a printed circuit board or in our programming or software that nobody might actually ever notice.
It's a big deal, though. I mean, it really is. I think it's great personally.
Absolutely, and just continuously advancing the tools, the technology, just to make things more efficient for technicians, make us do our jobs easier.
Well, like the process of a shop or a dealership or somebody running a collision center, you go about it in a very efficient way, and I think we've gotten good at listening to customers, putting that idea, something unique out of it, put it into the process of innovation. Our technology guys come and give us a really good cost-effective solution to that, and then we bring these new products out to market. So a lot of newness from Schumacher Electric. I don't want us to be on the cutting edge of technology because as a professional using the tools, I don't want to be the guinea pig, right? I want something solid that I can depend on every day and is making my job easier. So, that's the innovation we want to bring to the market, not some new gadget that maybe you really don't need.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that is awesome. And great to hear that you're listening to the customers and the feedback. I mean, that's really the name of the game. Yeah. Listen to your customers and help them out with what they need.
Yeah,
so,
really is.
For sure. Well, this has been fantastic, Mickey. This is great. Really appreciate you joining us on the podcast. And, we're going to keep an eye out for the technology. That's
awesome. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank all Team Schumacher in doing this, right? I get to sit here and talk to you guys about it, but, everybody's doing all the work. They're thinking about it. They're fighting hard. We have a lot of conflict about what to bring to market, how to bring it, what price, all that other stuff. And I tell you what, I feel really good about Team Schumacher and doing all this so that we could support everybody out there working with our tools every day.
I think that's great that you recognize them. There's always a lot of moving parts behind a successful company that are behind the scenes, so that's really good that you recognize that.
Absolutely. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks again, Mickey.
Yeah.
And
Appreciate you
Thank
joining
you.
us.
So
All
we'll
right.
talk to you soon.
Good deal.
All right, Mickey.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So, Tom, that was awesome. What did you think?
Yeah, no, that was really great, Eric. I really liked everything Mickey had to say. I really appreciate that he gave us the time and, shared his insight with us.
Yeah, absolutely. That was great. And just to hear about the innovation, the continuous technology that
Yeah.
they're pursuing within the company, how they're part of a big team, and to learn about DSR, the Don Schumacher Racing, that tie in there. I had no idea.
No idea. I know.
So, awesome. Great stuff. Hey, thanks to everybody for watching.
Yep.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, that's all for us. Have a good night.